What's going on, you guys? Welcome to Risky Ryan Trades. Today, we're talking about Crowdstrike. The stock has been falling due to earnings. We're going to dive into why that is the case. So you can see here, we've had a 7% decline. This video might get released, a day or two after this point, so you'll have to check, but it's sitting right around 450 pre-market on Wednesday. That's the time of this recording. We're going to get into why it's dropping, what I think about it. If you've read the title of this, you already know that I'm a CrowdStrike bull, and I think this will be a buy the dip opportunity. But I'll be talking about where I want to buy. And where I think this is going. So first, let's talk about the earnings call and their reporting. So first off, the revenue and earnings beat expectations year over year. So they're up 32% year over year. They're showing strong annual recurring revenue growth, also up 32% year over year. Now, back in July, they had a big outage. I don't know if you remember, all the airports, they got grounded because of basically an update issue. Back here, let's see if I can find it. Yeah, so this is July. Now, back here, I actually, believe it or not, I bought this dip and I sold right here. I've been the luckiest CrowdStrike trader over the last 2 years, I will argue, because I actually bought recently. I bought right at the very, very bottom, $300. Actually, I bought at 297. I bought the absolute bottom. This was my number one buy when Kramer was saying, oh, it's going to be a Black Monday, and the futures market opened and the overnight markets opened, and I bought the absolute dip that happened on April, what was that, April 7th? Yeah, I bought that, and I bought CrowdStrike. So I'm the luckiest CrowdStrike trader. I'm not trying to brag, but my methodology, it works. All right, let's keep on talking about the earnings here. So back in July, there was an outage, and it's causing some issues going forward. So one of the things that they have to do to mitigate customer concerns is they've introduced a customer commitment program offering service credits. So that's going to impact revenue by about $40 to $60 million per year for the remainder of this fiscal year. So that's a headwind. Now, they also revised down their revenue and EPS. Revenue, they revised down by about, 3%. But the EPS, they lowered by about 9 to 10%. So that's significant. So, I expect the stock to take a bit of a hit in the short term here. I do. And we'll get into that in just a second. Wow. Sorry, it's like 7 in the morning. I've been up since 5. But introduction of Falcon Flex, launched Falcon Flex flexible consumption model. Basically, this is like an a la carte. Their customers can pick and choose what they want, so that way they can get a foothold in their ecosystem and then start upselling them. $1 billion share repurchase program. So this is basically to help offset the issues, offset the $10 to $15 million per quarter they're going to have to eat in customer commitment program for their service credits. So this is going to help bolster the stock price. And typically when a company introduces a share buyback program, it means that they believe a buy the dip opportunity is coming up. So they probably saw this coming down the pike, these announcements. They knew it was going to affect their stock, and so they authorized buybacks because they think it'll be short-lived, as do I. And then finally, legal challenges post-outage. Here, let's see here. Outage triggered at least one high-profile lawsuit, Delta Airlines, and they acknowledged there could be more legal challenges. And while they haven't formally tied this to lower guidance, the combination of revenue credits, legal exposure, reputational risk, blah, blah, blah. So yeah. So I think that the overall uncertainty is way lower than it was back in July. And I think they're going to come to an agreement with Delta. And the best possible outcome is they keep Delta as a customer after, they get sued for damages. The fact of the matter is, this little mini scandal that happened, it doesn't change the fact that they are a super high quality product. They're also the primary security platform for NVIDIA's hardware and software. I don't see that changing in the future. Yeah, that's this right here. Okay, now there were some other things here. This is the Q&A section. I had them kind of ChatGPT summarize it. Let's see here. There was one. Okay, so how is the customer commitment package going to affect future growth trajectories? The CFO indicated that the impact would lessen over time, with Q3 being the most affected. So that is later in this year, or potentially this next quarter. So that's why their guidance was lower. He expects business acceleration in the latter half of the next fiscal year, driven by increased module adoption and deeper customer relationships. All right, cool. So let's take a look at the charts and really get to where I want to buy it, because, oh, good. Looks like it's still falling down. I love this. So first of all, I just want to show you the big picture, just in case you haven't seen my Crowdstrike chart, where my mind is at with this one. So it's been following this Gann angle pretty much ever since 2023, the bottom of 2023. I may readjust this to account for this, but I like how this sits right there. It explains the drop, that big August yen carry trade drop. That happened right after what happened in July. Like, they got absolutely pummeled. Wow. To anyone who bought down here, if you bought down here and you did better than me grabbing at 300 right here, like, please tell me. Comment below. That's incredible. But this is where I see it going. I really don't think that we're going to get down to my Gann angle again. It takes extraordinary circumstances, it seems, to get there these days. Now, you only see us hitting this, ever since we really established it as the support line. September of 24, we didn't touch it again until March of 25. So, you can go 6 months without touching it, and we just touched it in April. So I don't think that we are going to get here. We might, and if we do, I'm going to buy, but I'm not necessarily waiting for that exactly to happen. I would be perfectly happy if we hit between, say, 395, 390, that's where this is. I mean, if we came straight down next week or this week, we're talking like 370, but I don't think we get there in the short term. I think we get an initial bounce probably at the bottom of the arc, probably coming down to revisit this. So right in the 400s, low 400s, this fib levels at 408, I would probably buy a share if it hit this. And then, if there's continued weakness, this, especially if we get under this line, that's when I start loading the boat. I'm actually going to draw a trend line here, because you could see there's like a secondary line like right here. So this little zone in between these lines is what I would call a deep value area. And for this week, we would tag that if we hit 385 to 365. I don't see that happening, but if it does, I'll be loading the boat. I think it's going to take some time. I think this earnings, we're actually going to be, it's just going to consolidate downward. If I had to guess, we'll have a big thing till we hit here, we bounce up, and then we come like that. Maybe July 1st, we get the pivot point, something like that. So that's what I'm seeing on this chart. That's where I would be buying, is right at about 408, especially if we get it in the next couple days. I would be making my first purchases there. And if I get a chance to buy it on this angle this month or next month, I'll be making a very large purchase of Crowdstrike at that point. So that's what I'm seeing. If you liked the video, hit the like button for me. If you want to see more videos like this, hit the subscribe. And if you have a stock or a crypto you'd like me to take a look at, go ahead and comment it down below. That being said, thanks for watching. Risky Ryan, out.